have a card that's got a really interesting background. I'm calling this the oyster shell technique, so I'll show you how that's made in today's video. What we're going to be using is the Orange Blossom Complete Petals for the floral element on our card. I'm using the Delightful Sentiments for the sentiment set, and I'm cutting it out with the pierced flags. And we're going to be making a frame using the Cathedral background. So those are the dies and the stamps. I'm also going to be using a nice selection of the Cosmic Shimmer PVA glues here. I've got the Cosmic White and the Cosmic Pearl, as well as the Vintage Plum, the Pastel Pink, the Summer Blue, and the Spring Green. And we're going to use some of the Cosmic Lacquer to kind of gel it all together. I think I'll start there. I have a piece of clear acetate, and I'm going to use that for my background. And I'm going to just work in a back and forth fashion across this and put some of the Cosmic Lacquer on there. And then I'm going to go in with the, let's start with the pearl. And I'm just going to put a little bit of pearl in place there. Okay, and do a little bit of smoothing out with my finger. When the PVA glue hits the acetate, you're going to get a very distinct line. So the Cosmic Lacquer will allow you to kind of smooth that back and forth and blend it. Okay, there we go. And so you've got just some little dots there. So I'm going to use that Cosmic Lacquer to kind of smooth that just so it's more fluid looking. So I've got a base of that. We're going to go in with some of the other colors. The Pastel Pink, we're going to add some of that. There, different areas. There again, use your finger, smooth it around. There we go. Okay, now, there we go. Move these over. So I've got some of the Summer Blue. We're going to add some different colors because, you know, with your oyster shell, you have different colors coming through and you get a really nice iridescence. There's some blue. Add some green. And it's up to you how much color you want and in what area. So you can make this, tailor it to whatever your needs are. A little bit of the green coming through. I like that. Just smooth it around so it's not quite so distinct. And the Vintage Plum will give you some depth because it's much darker. So we're just going to add in a little bit of that. Smooth it around. There we go. So if you want a little darker color, you can add a tiny bit more of that. And then I'm going to put some white for some contrast too. There we go. Now, I think what really makes this is the pearl. So I'm going to go back in with the pearl and add a little bit on top because you'll get a lot of that shimmer from that. There we go. Okay, now let me just grab a grime boss, tidy up a little bit. So now what you want to do is set this aside, all right? Once you're happy with all the colors and the way it's come out, let it dry overnight. And you'll end up with this sort of look coming through. And every single time you do this, it's going to be completely different. So you get some beautiful colors. If you want to change it and have some more of the green or the blue or the pink come through, or even any of the other cosmic colors, you can do that. But this is the back side where I've put the glue, and then you're going to use the front where the clear acetate shows. Okay, so let me move these to the side now. Get them out of our way, and we'll go on from there. And these are the same cosmic glues that I use around the edge of my card a lot. So they'll make those beautiful, perfectly formed dots too. So it's nice to have other things to do with them. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go forward from this one here. So the next step is to cut our background. I'm going to use the Cathedral background and a piece of white card. Bring in our cutting plate here and center that because I want a nice little border around the edge. Okay. I'm going to use the larger of the ovals to cut the inside out. Tape that into place. There we go. Pop that through our grand caliper. Let's check it. That looks like it's cut well. And we're going to do a quick emboss on it. Pull away these extra little bits that have come out of place. Pop this on. There we go. Okay. Let's undo our tape. There we go. Get the center. Okay. It looks like all our little bits have fallen out there, so you can see how nice that's cut. It's absolutely gorgeous. What I want to do with this, though, is I want to add a backing to it. So I've cut another piece of white card, and I'm just going to use a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue around the edge here. And just a tiny bit to hold it into place. There. And I'm going to back it, so it's going to be a white on white. There we go. Give that a second to set up. And then I'm going to seat that same oval in the middle here and cut the center out of that. Let me just wiggle that back into place. Okay, tape it. All right, and let me clean up some of my little bits here. Bring our cutting plate back over and get a nice clean cut on that. Okay. Gently remove your tape. There we go. And we'll put this back onto our magnetic sheet. So now I've got a background that is white on white, but you can take, okay, you can remove some of the tape with the adhesive remover just to clean up the edges where the tape was. Okay, and I've gone ahead and used the smaller of the two ovals in there to cut an aperture out of the blush card. And it's going to just sit right inside that, so it'll be a nice little frame for it. So you have something that looks like that. So I've added some mounting foam onto the back of that, and I'm going to go ahead and seat this over our oyster shell background now. Peeling off my mounting foam. And I've just raised it up so you have a nice little recess in the center of that. There we go. That looks good. Get that on there nice and tight. And I'm going to go ahead and add that onto my matte and layer here that I've done with some blush card and some white. And I think I'll just use a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue around the edge here. There. Seat that right in the center, and I'll have a tiny little blush edge peeking out from underneath it. There we go. Give that a second. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do some flowers. Now I've gone ahead and cut a few of these already, but what I wanted to show you was a couple different ways you can do this. I've used the orange blossom stamps, and you can either stamp and emboss it first, as I've done here. It's stamped with the clear perfect medium and embossed in white on this blush card, and you can cut it out by laying your die over that, or you can do it this way. It just depends on which you prefer. You can ink up your stamp using the clear perfect medium, and you can take your die cut that's already been cut and lay it into place and press. and then you can heat emboss this. So let's see if I can just do a quick little emboss on him and I'll show you. And on that side. Okay, let me tip this back in out of the way. I'm just going to hold this with my scissors. There you go. Get the center. Okay. So either way is perfectly fine, however you prefer to do it. Both methods work great. You can also use the cutout piece as a template if you want to lay it over your stamped image and cut it through that. You can do that as well. Oops, totally fine. I'm going to do a little bit of forming with the pad here with my flower. Let's see, I'll use this one. It's nice and cool. Give it a bit of a push just to add some dimension to those petals. You can turn it over and just work the center in like that. Very, very simple. If you don't have a ball stylus or a flower shaping tool, you can use a spoon. You can use the back of stick pins, pokey tools. There's all sorts of methods you can do for that. Add a little bit of glue to the center of that. And I've got one I've already done with a pearl in the middle. So I'm going to pop that down right like that, offset it. Just give it a second to catch. And I'll come back to that. So I've stamped my best wishes and I've cut it out in white with the pierced flags, and I've added a little pink mat to that using the larger size. Put some mounting foam on the back. And I'm just going to seat this right about like that, and then we'll cover the end of that with our flower. So tiny bit of white tulle, because I think that makes a nice pretty setting for your flowers. Pop that on the end. I've also used some of the white satin ribbon in the thick, the very thin 1/16 inch. So I'm going to put that into place. Pop that right down like that. And we'll put our two flowers on with some glue dots as well. I've got a large one and a small one, so we'll hide the edge of that right there. And take this one, which should be nice and set by now. Pop that right over the top and just fluff up your ribbon a little bit. Offset the loops. How pretty is that? And I just love the way that that background adds so much interest to your card, and all it is just glue and cosmic lacquer. So easy to do. I hope you've enjoyed today's card. I really love the way that background looks. You can use any of the cosmic PVA glue colors to create a unique and bespoke card for your recipients.